let's get on in here. It is Friday Night Lights. Pink Friday. I feel like every day is pink day though, because y'all know me, I love pink. All the things are always pink, but it's something special when it's Pink Friday, right? Yes. Happy Libra season. Um, my birthday is in 7 days. So I'm trying to knock out some of this work because I will not be working like next week. I think I'm gonna give y'all a Tuesday huddle. I may have to do a wild card Wednesday because I will be traveling Thursday and I will be out celebrating my birthday from Thursday to Monday. Oh, I'm supposed to be going to a Monday night football game. Yeah. I gotta finish confirming those details. But I have so much to cover for you guys today. If you're wondering, like, well, where was you at for Thursday Throwdown? You know, I was asleep. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I didn't even watch Thursday Night Football because I had went to Breezy Bowl. I went to Breezy Bowl on Tuesday, and then I went to Disney on Wednesday, and yeah, it was a lot. That's why I did Monday Madness. Although it was all the madness going on, but I knew I was going to be traveling and going out, and I need to do better with making those announcements. I'm only one person, and I'll be trying to do everything underneath the sun, and I have so many moving parts going on. So yeah, so I was like, you know what? I have to do this show on Friday. I got to give you at least 2 shows a week, which is my promise. But I did post a schedule where I'll be doing shows Tuesday. I don't even stream on Wednesday anyway, so, that's that. But Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and select Saturdays. I will be working this next Sunday. So when I'm on the tweets, you will see me after like 5 p.m. So all the 1 o'clock games, I will not be tweeting about. So just putting that out there as well. That's a housekeeping thing before we get into the topics. And I also feel like my energy is not as up and as vibrant and exuberant as it usually is. And that's because the week has kicked my tail, y'all. But I'm here. I want to give y'all what's going on and all the news. Where, NHL is starting, MLB's postseason. We have all the sports going on in this 1 month. Everything's happening. Everything is happening. Right. And I have some exciting news coming up. About what I'm going to be going and doing and covering. I have to do better with that as well as letting you guys know what I'm going to be doing so you can help support. But what I have to do before we get into the topics. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Put your bell notifications on so you can always know when I go live. And if you forget, just follow me on all social media platforms at PT Love Sports because I do have a schedule up and I'm going to do my very best to adhere to that schedule outside of next week. It's my birthday week, and y'all already know I normally do a birthday show, which will probably be Tuesday, but you already know I don't work when it comes to my birthday. I mean, we've already established all of that, but let's go ahead and kick in right after my intro. Admit it. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it loud. Got your feeling so proud. This is how we do it now. Daily dose with this. Got you coming back for more. Okay, so before I get into all the good juiciness, we are going to start off on a very sad topic. I feel like if I throw the sad things in there, I can just quickly pivot to go into other things because it needs to be recognized, it needs to be said and stated. But the NFL and the sports world did lose ourselves a legend, a Super Bowl champ, and this is Arthur Jones. He is the beloved brother of Jon Jones and Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones is a former NFL player, and as you know, Jon Jones, the Jon Jones from UFC. That was one amazing, super athletic family. To have your 3 sons in professional sports, living up their dreams and doing all the amazing things that you could possibly have ever not only just thought about, dreamed about, and then to see it happen with like 3 times, it has to be something that's heartwarming for that family. But now they are embarking on a road of sadness, as they are saying this was a sudden death. He was 39 years old. I did not have any other details, but I did want to put it out there and to say it because it is certainly something important. And I have done it with all of the other athletes, so I wasn't going to just leave him out. So, sending my prayers and condolences up to his family during this hard time. And even though I haven't seen, their family come out and say it, I would say that this is a time to give them like privacy and respect and things like that. So no one ever wants to have to deal with that, especially being so young. And I think we've seen this trend with a lot of professional athletes losing their lives at such young ages. And it's like, this has something, it has to be a correlation somewhere. And I'm pretty sure there's some type of sports scientist out there trying to put things together. But I would really like to eventually longevity, not just because of him, but to see what the studies have showing, like the correlations between loss of life and professional athletes. But nonetheless, this is the hard topic of the day. And I know it's sad and it's heavy. And like I said, I wanted to send up my condolences. And we are going to move on from this topic. Okay. So we are going to now jump in. Y'all see I got my little baseball jersey on. Let me move my mic out the way. So this is actually from PG. This is mine. So yeah, pretty cute. All the things are pretty. So, you can also inquire to get yourself one. I did make it. Don't be trying to steal my designs. Don't be trying to steal my designs and things like that. Trying to recreate them. But we are going to start wearing more pretty merch, things that I've made, things that I have on my store, things that I want to do as customs because I will be going to more games and things. So I have to really start putting it out here because by 2026, we're going to have the PG merch store. We already have the PG merch store, but it's going to be popping. I am saying that now. I'm putting it into the universe, into my Lord upstairs. The PG merch store will be popping. Okay, for men and women, all right. I don't have any men to like wear the stuff yet, but I'm gonna find them. I'm gonna find you. Oh, I have something. I'll do it on Tuesday. It'll be my birthday, and I'll be giving away gifts and other things. So make sure you're tuning into that show, cause yeah, we're going to be zipping and doing it, just like MLB is zipping and doing it in their postseason. So I was just about right. On almost, I think, all of them. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to move my thing. I like the pictures to be up there, but they can't be. I feel like when they're too small, it makes it real awkward. But when it's too big, it's covering my face. And that's just, that's what we're not going to do. We're not going to do that. But we have the Dodgers beating the Cincinnati Reds. As I said that we're going to beat Cincinnati. The Yankees advance beating Boston. I said that they were going to beat Boston. The Chicago Cubs beat the San Diego Padres. I said that the Cubs are going to beat the Padres. And then Detroit beats Cleveland. And I said I was 50-50 there because I wasn't too well versed in what they had going on, but I felt like it was going to be really, really good. And Detroit showed out. So now it's going to be Detroit versus the Seattle Mariners. It is going to be the New York Yankees versus the Toronto Blue Jays. It is going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the Philadelphia Phillies. Had a brain fart. And then it's going to be the Chicago Cubs versus the Milwaukee Brewers. There are some interesting facts going on here with there being basically 4 teams. These 4 teams have been on a postseason drought. Their postseason drought. This is, a time where they could possibly get a World Series title. This is big. As you know, the Los Angeles Dodgers were, the champs, and they were holding it down. And that's why I said I thought they were going to easily move on out of that wild card round, because I just felt as though that they were just going to play lights out. And when you look at the series numbers for Detroit and Cleveland were 2-1. The Yankees 2-1. Los Angeles 2-0. Like Cincinnati didn't have a chance. Not a chance, okay? And then you had the Cubs 2-1. So super competitive, but I just feel like, yeah, it's wild card, but evidently there's just teams that were better than the other teams. The only team that was a little bit of a disappointment was Cleveland because they came in as ranked as number 3 and they got beat by number 6. But those 3-6 teams and the 4-5s are always like super competitive, super hard in my opinion. But nonetheless, those are the ones moving on. But the Blue Jays have had a 32-year drought. Okay, they need to come back and come back hard, right? In fact, they're sitting in that top seed, so they're like, woo, you know. It says the Blue Jays brought Canada the only 2 World Series titles, and they were in back-to-back years, and it was in 1992. So they are really just trying to go back to have their dominance, or trying to get back to, you know, can we do it? And so far, this season, they look great. Now they're going to play against they're going to play against the Yankees, and I mean, to me, that's going to be tough. But Toronto is slated to be the better team, so we shall see. But like I said before, it is the playoffs, it is the postseason, and it's baseball. Anything can happen. Literally anything can happen, right? The Brewers have never won the World Series, so they're on a hunt to get their first World Series title. I actually know somebody who's a Brewers fan. That's like the only one that I know, and that's because he's from Milwaukee. So I know he's just super excited. You got the Packers are doing decent. I mean, they, you know, what Packers are doing decent. Milwaukee's doing good, and the Bucks are about to get going. Like, if you're a Milwaukee fan right now, you are having a great season of sports. And then you have Seattle has never appeared in the World Series either, so they don't have any type of titles, but they're also trying to get back at it. Seattle, I feel like in itself is just trying to regroup as a sports city, you know, from the Kraken to the Seahawks, now, you know, the Mariners. Like, they have a lot of things that they're trying to build to get back to a level of, like, I don't even say they want to get back to a level of, because have they ever actually been, you know, there? You know, who knows? But, you know, wishing them luck. And the Detroit Tigers have been on a 41-year drought. So it has been more than 4 decades since the Tigers last hosted the Commissioner's Trophy. But given the way that they bounced back to defeat the division rival Guardians on the road in the AL Wildcard Series after blowing a 15-1.5 lead over Cleveland in the AL Central, they're on the prowl for much more than a division series appearance. So the Tigers have fight in them. They're one of those teams that's like the luck up team, one of the teams that you just didn't expect to just pop up in there and, like, yeah, you know, they pulled the Meek Mill, you know, the hold on, wait a minute, y'all thought I was finished, and came back and handled business. So I think that Detroit is going to really, really, really be competitive when it comes to this upcoming series. I think that Detroit and Seattle, because they're both vying for something that is super duper special and it's like history bound, I think it's going to be a great series. That might be the best series out of the 4 that we're going to be looking at. I think that Seattle can pull it off. Something in me, I don't know if it's because I love the Kraken, so I'm just going for Seattle, but I think they can pull it off. I think that I hate to say that my Yankees aren't going to get it, but Toronto may pull it out. I feel like LA can definitely beat Philly. That's just, I don't know, something about the Dodgers is just, I don't know. Why they got Shohei Ohtani, I even though he's banned from my betting card, I still feel like I can't actually ever count them out. And I'm going to say that, I don't know, I feel like the Brewers might just snip the Cubs. I don't know. That's pretty hard. I'm going to try to keep up with it a little more with this, you know, upcoming postseason and all the great things. The games start tomorrow. So there's lots of things, like lots of stuff to hop on in with and about. The NHL is coming into opening season opening weekend, should I say. Preseasons are already going and things like that, but here is the season opening guide. So you have the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Panthers. Okay. And that, I feel like it's going to be a good game anyway, because we all know that the Panthers and what they have been doing and how they have been just dominating for the past few seasons. And honestly, I feel like the Blackhawks at some point had so much hype and things around them, and then it just like kind of just tumbled down. So maybe a good game, yes. What's going to really be a good game is the New York um, versus the sorry, I'm trying to read it too fast. New York versus the Ping Wings, the Pittsburgh. I feel like those are always good games, just super grunt, super like neck and neck, head and head. I feel like it's going to be just a super good game. The Kings versus the Avalanche, a good West Coast show out. Having Toronto Maple Leafs, I feel like Toronto was so close last season. So close, but yet so far away. So I am excited to see how they really show up this year. That they're playing a team that they definitely could beat. So I just, wanted to see what they really bring forth. The Capitals versus versus Boston. Okay. And the Oilers, again, the Oilers, another team that was just so close, but so far away. I think the Oilers just can't seem to close out. They can't seem to get it. They can't seem to just make it happen. And, opening up the season, let's see what you're bringing. Let's see the tenacity of it. I do want to say, though, and then again, you have the Kings and the Kings. No, I'm kidding. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Kings are going to play another West Coast battle. This is just a guide for one. There's plenty of other games going on, but these are the key games that are going to be on the TV screen. So if you want to watch them, these are going to be the key games. I do want to really see how Seattle shows up this year. Like I said, the Seattle Kraken is been a team that I've been talking about. I do want to start making like individual, very strategic hockey content, because I feel like hockey is like a passion and a love of mine, and I feel like me just mentioning it a little bit on this show is not going to really get me where I want it to be. So I'm thinking about going over to my other channel, Through the Glitter Glass, and doing just like specific hockey content over there, like explaining what it is for hockey. This will be really for beginners, really for everyone, beginners to pros to whatever, but there's going to be content where I'm explaining hockey and my worldview and how I see it and how I break down the rules for me to better understand it. And when I first became a cheerleader and when I first fell in love with hockey and all that stuff, like having a vlog experience over there, going to games and having all of those amazing things going over there. So I think I'm going to start and kick off that channel this year. So if you're interested in hockey content, if you want to know more about hockey, if you're a hockey girly or a hockey guy, and I would love to have some people come on and, host a show over there. Why not? It's a beautiful platform and it's brand new. So we're going to be building it from the grounds up. So it's lots of opportunities to go over there to explore and to really dive in to hockey in itself and what's so great about it. I feel like there's not enough hockey content for me. Like, I feel like I just don't have enough of it. So same thing like when I started this channel, I just feel like it just wasn't enough of the things. Like, it wasn't enough topics that were being covered that needed to be covered. So that's why I started. So why not? We'll start it. Again, that is Through the Glitter Glass. That is the YouTube channel. We're going to start it and kick it off because hockey is here. Yeah, I know I love my hockey. And I'm going to be wearing my Flyer stuff. I got to get Seattle stuff and I got to get New Jersey stuff, but I only have lots of Flyers stuff because I was a Flyers cheerleader. Yeah. So when you see me in the Flyers gear, do not come at my neck talking about, well, you were rooting for the Kraken. Okay. I got a Kraken shirt, but we got to get further on about the things that we have. But we're going to move on from here. Make sure you're tuning in to NHL. Boom. Okay. We are going to move on to the WNBA finals is going on. I think the game is actually going on right now. So the Las Vegas Aces versus the Phoenix Mercury. And like I said, the Phoenix Mercury made me eat my words because I did not see them even getting to the finals, but that was on me because Alyssa Thomas is over there and I should have been like, the girl be boiling out. So I should have known better, but I didn't know better because again, I thought that Minnesota was just outright the better team, and maybe they were. It just fell short. You know, when you get to the ends of the season, you get into playoffs, you have to have a healthy team, and they just didn't have it. So they're going to be duking it out. I think that it's going to be a really great series because one, we've seen from the last series that the Mercury does not let up. They are here to play. They're here to win. They're here to get it. The thing about the WNBA too is like, wait a minute, both these teams are considered on the West. So it's like, wait a minute, we have no Eastern teams in here. We have no, you know, we didn't out. But again, I understand that the teams are so short. It's short, the season is short too, but the teams are so small in number, so it's kind of like the way that they do the brackets. But I still feel like there should be enough teams to where at the end, when it gets to the finals, there's a East versus a West in some type of way. I don't really know how that's gonna work out, but I just know that we're going to stay tuned for this series. It's going to be super competitive. Um, Asia, Chelsea, and them, they turn up on a whole nother level when it gets to playoffs in general, but when it gets to like the finals, they're just a whole different breed. Again, I think that the first game they're in Las Vegas, but I think that the first game is going to, I don't know. I feel like the Aces kind of strag with the first game, and then they start to show up and shout and like take the court by a blaze. I don't know. They could want to get to an early start so that way throughout the season, throughout the series, because it will be a long series, that maybe they get to let off the gas a little bit. But we shall see. And I'll probably be on here sometime tomorrow talking about it. So I just want to, bring focus that the WNBA is in the finals, and pretty soon there will be no WNBA. So you have to watch is it Unrivaled? You have to watch all this other not WNBA content, you know? That kind of sucks. I should have wore a basketball jersey, but it's MLB time. It's MLB time. So I have to I feel like I need to patch together a football jersey, a basketball, a hockey, um, and a baseball. Let's put it all together. Who knows? But speaking of, about to be no more for the WNBA, Miss Cathy, the commissioner. So she's lost. She's lost the players. She's lost coaches and staff and just the WNBA teams as a whole, I feel. And they had the negotiations going on, and obviously for the longest time it was always pay them what you owe us and all that. They were going through the pay disputes. I feel like I still haven't heard anything like magnificent come out of those negotiations. They're probably still within those negotiations at this time, but it's probably hard because like they're still trying to keep afloat everything else they got going on from playoffs now the finals. They're just trying to get to the end of the season, and I think that's when we'll finally see a turn of events. And within that turn of events, there's being news and there's being lots of chatter that Cathy will be out at the end of the negotiations. So it's probably why things are dragging on long, right? The office has come out and said that's fake news. We don't know what you're talking about. She has also come out for the first time ever since she's gotten the critique, and ever since that they've been, all of the players who've had an opportunity, who are not afraid to get in front of a microphone and speak their truth, has said that, like the leadership is the worst in the world. And Nafisa Kohlers, that's her name, got on there and said, like, we have the worst leadership in the world, and we just don't, we're not feeling Cathy anymore. Like that's why I feel like if she just was going to say it blatantly like she did, like we got the worst leadership in the world, and then I feel like after that the precursor was like, we don't like Cathy at all. We just don't like her. Asia Wilson came out and was like, the fact that Cathy responded back to those comments, like she was disgusted by the comments and disgusted by just like how the whole negotiation thing is going on. And again, it's been dragging on for some time now. So it's not new. It's nothing that's just like, oh, this just happened yesterday. Like, no, they've been at odds for quite some time. And again, I can understand the WNBA is probably like, yes, we want to pay you all more, but we also have to make more. We also have to generate the revenue. We also have to stop losing money. We have to, maybe they have debts. I don't know. We have to pay the debts back. And she probably feels that there's a lack of appreciation, right? Because when Caitlin Clark came on the scene, and then suddenly, they went from flying on Spirit Airlines to flying in a private jet. They went from staying at a Motel 6 to staying at a Marriott Courtyard Doubletree, whatever that was. So I'm not saying these exact places, but that was the comparison of things that changed within the league. And part of that is because they were starting to make more money and get new things. And I said before when we were talking about the negotiations, we look at like the NBA revenue, they have what 51%, and the WNBA's revenue they get like 9%. So does it need to go up? Yes. But there's also things on the opposite side where they need to get that figured out from the TV deals. They have a big Fenty, collaboration. I think Skims as well. So I think it's just finding out how to get the revenue in there. And it's also, in my opinion, marketing. I think that teams like the New York Liberty do well with their marketing because they have a good marketing team and strategy in place. A lot of the other teams do not have a great marketing strategy. I feel like the Indiana Fever are automatically going to have that marketability because they have Caitlin Clark over there. They did a nice run in the playoffs. They have Aaliyah Boston. They have a lot of things going on over there. I feel like the Chicago Sky could be better with their marketing, having Angel Reese over there. So all these teams, I think the Las Vegas Aces do pretty well with their marketing. But I just named four or five teams. So marketing as a whole for the WNBA, in my opinion, just kind of sucks. And as a person who does marketing, as a person who's, I'm gonna put myself out there, but as a person who's applied for these marketing positions and really could see things from the outside looking in, the marketing is not great. So marketing is like the face of every company, organization, everything. The way you market and the way that people see your now league is super duper important. Yes, it has grown, but it could be so much bigger, so much better. And I think that Cathy is going to have a hard pill to swallow when it comes to whether she's going to get that commissioner's job back or not. Who are they going to get to be the commissioner at this point? I'm not really sure. Adam Silver is not leaving. Roger Goodell is booming over there in the NFL. So I don't really know who they're going to get. Maybe, maybe it'll be like a good coach that can come in and who was a previous coach and understands players. Maybe Candace Parker. I like that. VP over at Nike with like the creative department for WNBA. Maybe. I don't know. I like her. I think a lot of people like her, respect her. Lisa Leslie. Those two good options. I'm not really sure how the WNBA picks their commissioner. I will obviously do research on that. But, maybe it needs to be, Cathy, has basketball experience and everything, but maybe it just needs somebody that is, can get in there and add some freshness to it. Give it a facelift a little bit. Can turn around. Could market. Could really know what it means to market to like today's modern fans and things. And again, I don't want to say Cathy's not doing a great job. Cathy's done great. But if they're calling for someone else, if you've lost the players and now the coaches and the staff, and it's like the relationship's already strained, it's feeling like a really bad divorce. So I think that getting somebody in there who, players love, respect, look up to still, I think somebody like that could really come in and change the face of the WNBA in the most positive way. But that's just my 2 cents. That's just my thoughts. You can let me know what you think about this. If you don't even care about this, that's fine too. But I just feel like it was something that I just kept seeing. So, of course, I had to bring it up because that's what I do. When I see things, I'm like, yeah, that's. Yeah. Something else that I just kept seeing as well, and I did not add the freaking picture up here. I'm going to add it. I thought I had it up here. Apparently not. But that happens. Sometimes my brain is moving faster than myself. So UFL. Yes. Get in here. Okay. We don't do enough of UFL content, and we need to do better with that. Same thing with CFL, and I understand CFL is Canadian, but we do have a lot of American players that play for the Canadian League. So it's like, why not cover it and cover it more? The UFL, though, is going through some changes. Going through some changes. Now, when I first seen this back when I seen the Birmingham Stallions post something, I was like, this is craziness. The Birmingham Stallions have put up a post basically saying, if we don't sell out our season tickets, we leave it. Like what? Huh? So that threw me off. That threw me off. But I was like, I don't, I'm not a huge UFL watcher. So I just thought that maybe that was like, I knew they were going through some problems, so maybe that was the humor. And then I reported on before how the UFL is now taking teams out of these cities and trying to put them into other cities. And the fans in those cities are like, what? How dare? And some people are just calling for it to expand. Other people are calling for it to just go into more popularized cities, I guess. And right now, the UFL is working on finalizing and closing a deal with getting into Louisville, Kentucky, and having that team. I think, I think that the Memphis Showboats, who just announced that they will be leaving Memphis due to accessibility, due to field, due to just like availability within the city, I think that that may be the team that they're trying to get into Kentucky. Obviously, it says that Kentucky is going to be a new team, but really, what I feel like with a lot of these teams is they kind of just move and then they just kind of change their, they get a facelift. They change their name, they change their colors, their scheme, their branding, their marketing to try to like revamp and start it over. So I think that is what is going to be happening, but I'm not completely sure about that. But I seen that today the Memphis Showboats are leaving Memphis, and I was like, okay, that was like the only football in Memphis. The Titans do really, really well in Nashville. I don't know why like Nashville wasn't an option. The fan base there is amazing and they're great, even though their team sucks. But the fan base is really great, and they're getting a new stadium and all that built within the coming years. So like that's good. I think that the St. Louis team is doing pretty well. I think that St. Louis from the beginning is kind of like a football city because obviously they had the St. Louis Rams for so long, and I think that St. Louis loves having football there. So I think that's why the team is doing so well there. And I thought the team was doing well in Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh is a sports city, is a football town. So I thought they'd be doing great, but I don't know as to like why they kind of left, but I thought that the team was doing great there. I just feel like that the UFL does not have enough teams, and maybe they do, and I just don't pay attention to it, but they don't have enough teams. Like I tried to get in with the Birmingham Stallions last season, and they were like, I was trying to do media coverage because that's what I do. And they were like, who are you? What do you do? Why are you here? And I was like, excuse me. Even if my audience is growing, I'm getting, 20K insights monthly over there on the Instagram. And the Instagram, I got like 700 followers. I think I'm doing pretty well. You need all the coverage you can get. It's just my opinion. Didn't they move a few teams? Yes. They have moved a few teams. And some teams I was like, why would you put it there? I think Orlando, okay, hear me out. I think Orlando would be a good landing spot. Camping World Stadium is nice. It's nice. I just was there on Tuesday. It's super nice. It's a nice stadium. It's a big enough stadium where it can hold a lot of people for UFL specifically. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to play there all next season while they get renovations done on their stadium. So it's big enough to hold lots and lots of fans. They have the Orlando Magic, who's doing pretty well. They have the G League team that's there as well. They have the ECHL team that's there. And I think football just will add a certain level of like, to it, right? And it is the most and the best and the most magical city that there is, highest city of tourists and tourism because of Disney World, Universal, Epic Universe, all the things. Like, if you're gonna put a sports team anywhere, it should be Orlando. That's what I think. But again, I'm not the person that does the market research there. They didn't hire me, so whatever they got going on. I think Atlanta is full, but Atlanta's also another good landing spot. The Charlotte audience is great. I've seen Charlotte with soccer. I've seen Charlotte with the Panthers. And again, the Panthers have not been that great, and they still are there like swimwear. They're there. They're there. They're very loyal. Very, very loyal. So that's another place that it could be, like just in bigger metropolitan areas. I felt like Birmingham, I never understood that. I can understand Memphis in a way, but I didn't really understand why I didn't go into Nashville. Just my opinion there. I feel like if you put a football team in cities that already have football teams, could it be some type of conflict? Yes, but the UFL doesn't play when NFL is in, so it could possibly work out. Or if you put the team where they have a Major League Soccer team, I feel like that could be really, really successful as well. But again, that's just my brain just thinking off the top. But I when I'm thinking of things like that, that's what I'm thinking of, because you need the stadium space, you need the quality of fans. Soccer fans are some of, are if not the best fans in the world. So if you put this UFL team and you collab it some type of way with a team that already has soccer going on, I don't see how it doesn't succeed, unless the team is just like booty cheeks and you're not getting to that audience. But I think it could work out, because again, I see how it works in Charlotte. I see how it works in Charlotte. I was blown away when I went to the Major League Soccer game. I was like, what? From them calling out the player's name, and like the announcer is announcing the first name and the crowd is chiming in with the last name. I'm like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Some of the best fans. So if you couple the cities of the football team with Major League Soccer teams in cities that are here in the United States, I think it could be successful. But again, that's just my opinion there. Another comment we have here. Hi, how are you doing, by the way? Happy Friday. I wonder if they could move to a state like Arkansas to Fayetteville area, since there are no pro teams there. Why not try it for a year? Not sure if Little Rock would be good enough. Okay, so I understand that. I understand, like, moving into Arkansas. I get it. I think the thing that they're going to look for, though, is looking for that fan base. When you do your market research, is trying to figure out, does this area actually want a team? Can they support a team? And what kind of sports are they really into? Prime example that I think when I look at that is like Savannah Bananas, right? Although it's not traditional baseball, it is a team where they've gone in there because they have the Savannah Ghost Pirates, which is ECHL hockey. But they've put this team there, and it has been just out of this world successful. And within that market research, like, why in on God's green earth did you put it in Savannah? Out of all the places in Georgia, you put it in Savannah. But that's because they were ready and they were able to support that. So putting it in a place, like I said, I didn't understand the Birmingham thing, but again, I haven't looked at their market research, which I can do more research about it. Like, if we can sit and talk about it, I can make a whole episode about it. But I think putting it there is like, why? Why would we put it there? I would think that we would put it somewhere maybe a little closer to like the NBA G League team. Is that in Birmingham as well for the Pelicans? Where is that team? I don't know. I can't again, I'm trying to think of all these things on the top of my head because I didn't actually research this before I got on there. Y'all know I like to spread facts, but right now I'm giving you my opinions and some slightly experienced facts there. But I think it would be really hard. It's like understanding what sport would do well in which area, and I think that's super duper important. And I think that that's probably where they're failing at. I think their marketing department is failing them. And that's just my opinion from a person who has done marketing. The marketing is not there, in my opinion. Fan base wise is why I said Fayetteville area. Not sure if the Razorback fans would support or not. That's true. That's true. Because the Razorbacks are okay, but it's a good SEC fan base. I think it could be something that's possible. If, like I said, if the fan base there is going to support it. And I really think that before they move these teams, they need to go in and really do that research. I think a lot of people fail to realize how important market research is, because if you put something in the market and it is not going to be successful, that you end up like they are now, having to move the team, having to move things around, tickets are not selling. You got people blasting them on Instagram. It's like, y'all are not the good fan base because you're not buying the season tickets. It's like, How about we do better with that? I think entertainment needs to be something that throws in as well. People fail to realize that entertainment is 50% of the fan experience. A lot of people go because they want to be entertained. So if the team's not going to be that great, and even if the team is not great, you need to have entertainment. Hello, look at almost all the teams in Dallas. They have entertainment. They have really they understood the assignment when it comes to fan experience. Fan experience is important. I should not be going to a game where I'm paying any amount of money, but if I'm paying my money and I'm sitting there and in between time, in the meantime, I am bored. The best thing about the game is the food. That no. It needs to be so much better. And I'm gonna stop yapping about it because I can go on and on about it because again, I'm super passionate about marketing. Marketing is what I do. So it's like, dog, y'all need to get it together. I need to pull it together. Cause what I got going on is not good. It's not good. I don't know about Jackson. Jackson, Mississippi does do a great thing. I don't know about being in Jackson specifically, but I think having it in that area because Ole Miss is around there. Um, you know, those fans do well. The Jackson State fans do well. So is it an opportunity there? Yes. I think at some points with some of their moving their teams as well, it's also stadium accessibility. What stadium are they going to use? How accessible is it going to be for their season? And all of those things. So I think again, there's a lot that goes into this. And I'm just yapping away because I'm just, when I think about things, I'm like, how are they not thinking about that? How are they not putting that into fruition? And maybe they are, and we're just not seeing it. Maybe they are, and they were just, I don't know. But Camping World in Orlando has a stadium. Go use it. Again, play at Major League Soccer arenas. Some of them have their own standalone stadiums. Some of them do, and some of them don't. Some of them share. So figure it out, drop up in there. St. Louis is doing pretty well. So if St. Louis can do it, I feel like there should not be a problem with anything else. And because the teams are so small and limited, I feel like it's super duper hard to be like, okay, we're gonna put the team in Biloxi, Mississippi. What? I mean, it's close to New Orleans, so but like what? Birmingham, Alabama was just that was a head scratcher for me. I did not understand that. I didn't understand that. I get UAB's there. I get that's SEC place for like where their headquarters is, but it just didn't make sense to me why you were putting it there. It didn't make sense to me why it was there. Those two teams. You're right. It didn't make sense, but it's just my opinion. We're gonna hop off that though. Because we're gonna be here talking about it for 2 hours. If I keep going, I'm just yap along, yap along. Okay, going in, and as we were talking about college football, I'm gonna just go ahead and throw this one out here. So the Marching 100 is being fined $10,000. Being fined $10,000 from the SWAC. And you're probably like, well, what did the band do? And why is the SWAC fining them? Well, their band announcer. I've seen a lot of different news, and it was a lot of different statements that was like, the stadium announcer. No. The band announcer, Joe Bullard, I think I'm saying his name right, he made some comments about the Honeybees from Alabama State University because they played at FAMU and they did a part of their little halftime show. And he said at the end, congratulations, ladies, you are now the face of Ozempic. And Ozempic is originally, what it's really for is a diabetes medication, but it has now been approved by doctors for people to use it for weight loss. So I was in the comments because y'all know I'll be in the comments. So in the comments, some of them were like, "That's body shaming," and why would you say they're the face of Ozempic? And then somebody asked a good question. It was a good question. They were like, "Well, if he's saying they're now the faces of Ozempic, does that mean that you don't have to be small and skinny to dance on?" I don't know. I'm not making excuses for it. I'm just telling y'all what I see in the comments. A lot of people were like, "That's body shaming, and you can't do that." And it's, that, and was the comment distasteful? Yes. But I've also heard that, there's been lots of HBCU band banter that this is not even as bad as it was in the past or could have been. And honestly, I know that there's a certain level of like band culture and band banter and things that, things that are said. And obviously the climate has changed a lot with things that are offensive, things that are taken the wrong way, and I completely understand that. And I think he's been doing it for 50 years now, so maybe he just obviously he didn't think about the comment before he said it. Like he might have thought about it and thought it was funny, but he didn't double think about it. And he just said it. He did come out and apologize, and he is suspended for 2 games. They did not fire him. A lot of people were calling for him to be fired and all of that. And FAMU was like, we're not, or the SWAC, FAMU probably came together and was like, we're not going to fire him, but we will suspend him. And he will have to think about those Ozempic comments while he is on suspension. And then, another thing that came up too in the comments, because again, I be in the comments, there were a lot of people saying, well, why are the honeybees separate from the actual dance line, right? And the honeybees have been known to be a plus size dance line. And that threw people up in an uproar as well, because they were like, well, why can't they dance on the same line? Why can't they be together? Isn't that just as offensive? Because now you're saying you're being, they're discriminating against who can dance on what line and what team and da da da. Like, although they have a point, they were going ham in them comments, y'all. Although they have a point, and let me know what y'all think about this, but they got a point. However, I think at the time, way back when they first started, yes, they started the honeybees because they saw that there were more voluptuous women that wanted to dance on a dance line that could also dance. They're super athletic. They have, the stamina and everything. And honeybees, I've seen as well in the comments that the honeybees have gotten smaller over the course of the years. But they saw that those women were not making the dance line. So they decided that they want to be trailblazers and make their own team. So yes, it was celebrated in that sense of like, they have made their own team. They have been doing their own thing for years now. This is not new. They've been doing it for years now, and they've been doing it well, and they've earned a certain level of credibility and respect that, obviously, I knew about the honeybees before I knew about the Stingettes. I think that's their name. So I understand. And as a woman myself, who I'm not plus size, but I have been treated that way, I understand why you absolutely want to have a safe space for those women. And those women are not in their head like, they're not delusional saying like, I'm skinny and I should be on that. They're not that, right? They're very self-aware and they love the way that they look. They love their body, and that's why they wanted to join that team. And they get, like I said, the honeybees. I know about the honeybees before I know about anything at Alabama State University. Really, I did. So they have really opened up an audience to majorette dance that is not really widely accepted. If we're being honest, we got to call a spade a spade. Their size is not widely accepted amongst dance lines. So they said we can dance and we can drop it like it's hot and we're going to show y'all better than we can tell y'all. So I get it. Yes, people have a point in the comments saying, well, that's a problem within itself. Yes, it could be, but that is what it is. Doesn't negate that he made the comment and that they felt it, and them, the audience, other people felt that it was offensive. So being though that they felt it was offensive, something had to be done, right? Something just had to be done. So 2 things can be true at one time. 2 things can very much be true at one time. So I was entertained. I was entertained in the comments. I really was, because I was learning and I was laughing and I was like, whoa, y'all are coming at each other's throat heavy. People are calling for FAMU to leave the SWAC. They like, pack it up. Go back to the MEAC. Oh my gosh. If y'all not in the SWAC beef Facebook groups and group chats, you might want to join them. I think they're entertaining, but also learn a lot from them in there. And that's when I first saw this whole debacle about what's going on. And then the SWAC made an announcement and made a post about it and put it out there. So that's just my opinion. I do got some comments up here. Let me go back and read the comments. Okay, what does it say? I'm a Chargers fan and we struggle with fans in LA. I feel like we should go to a state like St. Louis. First of all, Chargers fans, y'all not leaving LA. They just got that stadium and all that. They're not leaving. They're gonna keep biting off. They're like the Clippers and the Lakers. You will struggle a little bit because the Rams are dominating that fan base. They've been dominated for years. That has been their home. But as the Chargers get better with Jim Harbaugh over there, they're going to start seeing fans, and people are going to start bandwagoning and migrating. Y'all gonna figure it out. I think the Chargers have been going on for long. I hate that they got rid of the Chargers girls because I love the Charger girls. I say, oh no, why would you get rid of them? I loved them. So they are obviously struggling a little bit, but I feel like with them turning it around a little bit this season, I feel like better is to come. Better is to come. Give Jim a couple years before you say y'all want to move to St. Louis. But St. Louis is a great football city. Shout out to St. Louis. It wasn't that bad to me, but don't think you should say that in a mic publicly. That is a Facebook or in person at the tailgate type of joke. So that is what makes it inappropriate to me. Yes. Him saying it on the loudspeaker to everybody at brag. He was bragging differently, and it wasn't in the best way. That's really all I can say about that. Some people are gonna take it offensively, some people are not. I think that's just the part. Like, you just have to think about it and think about it again before you say it. Then again, that's just the way that the cookie crumbles nowadays. Moving on to NFL topics, I only have 3 more on here. Age little man. Breaking news: Lamar Jackson is out for week 5 with a hamstring. Yes. I think last week they were talking about how the hamstring injury was probably a fake. They were like, Lamar just didn't want to play against the Chiefs, so he took himself out. I didn't say that. They were saying that. Don't put that on me. I'm just spreading what I saw on the interweb. Okay? But he will be out, and that means that Cooper will be doing his thing. Other notable outs is Chuba Hubbard for the Panthers, and then Bucky Irving is out for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is beat up. Okay, they are toe up on the flow up. I don't know what is happening over there in Tampa Bay, but they're drowning. They're drowning in a sea of injuries. The only thing that could come from that, and I'm gonna take Lamar's face off here because I'm gonna be talking about Tampa Bay. I don't want nobody to be like, "Shut up, what you talking about?" But the only thing that I can see coming from Tampa Bay is if they, manage to hang on. They've been hanging on by their edges. I feel like we've been going through the same thing, so I can understand how they've just been hanging on by their edges. But they've been hanging on by their edges, and the only thing I can see is if they keep holding on, and then by the time they get all of their players back that are healthy, by the time they get to maybe like end of the season, as they're gearing up to go into postseason, if they can hold off, I think then you'll start to see a fully healthy Tampa Bay team, and you'll be like, oh, they're good. But they are struggling something serious. Mac Jones over there is doing what he needs to do. Brock Purdy better watch out. The same way I told Anthony Richardson that his job was going to be on that line because of the way Daniel Jones showed out up in there. Mac Jones is coming for that job. Mac Jones wants that starting job. He wants to be QB1 officially for the 49ers. So I think, and the way they just beat the Rams, I think Brock's going to have a little problem with that job. I think that he is going to have a problem with that job. That's just my opinion, though. Obviously, Lamar is not going to have no problem with his job. No problem at all. Joe Burrow is not going to have any problem getting his job back either. Joe Burrow is still out. Obviously, he's going to be out for quite a bit. So yeah, I think Brock may need to he better start sending some gifts or something. I don't know. Dang, Shador shouldn't have ran away from competition. LOL. Huh? What? What? What are we talking about? What are we talking about there? Okay. Are you talking about when he was at Jackson? I don't know, y'all. I love the comments though. Interrupt me and let me talk because I'll be seeing things. We can chat it out. The Vikings versus the Cleveland Browns over in London. So I'm thinking that the Vikings probably did not leave Europe when they were over there. They just went to London because they were just there playing Pittsburgh, and now they're going to be playing the Browns in London at Tottenham Stadium. So I think that the Vikings will get a win this week. I think they can finally get one. I think they can get one. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Okay? It's not going to be easy. The Browns defense has been defending really well. And the Browns are also starting their new QB1, Dillon Gabriel. Yes. He will be starting. Yes, he will. And if the football gods are ever in Shador's favor, then he is going to be praying to those gods that Dillon does not do great. But obviously, he's going to get more than just this one game. But he will be making his debut. And it's kind of sad because his father does not have a passport, so they will not get to see him make his debut. But that is something just like, that's a debut. That's a debut. I'm debuting my first NFL professional start in London, overseas international game. That's a brag. That's a brag. Will they win? That'll be an even bigger brag. If he goes there and wins, that is an even bigger brag. Wow. I started my first game in London and I beat the Vikings. What? That is a brag. That is a brag over there. But yeah, the Browns were like, Joe, you gotta hang it up. You are being restricted to the bench. Okay, we're giving you the Russell Wilson treatment. Get us on that bench. We've seen enough. Dillon, you're up. Good luck. So he played in the last game. I guess you can say that he made his debut in the last game, but this is like his official. He's coming out starting QB1. He wasn't getting in from the backups. It's like his official. And it's like, yeah, you get to do it. Because Lamar was there. Oh, no. First of all, enough with the Vikings and the Browns. Okay? This comment says, Shador ran from competition because Lamar was there. Wait, stop it. You got to be more careful. Okay? I understand why he didn't want to go to Baltimore because at the end of the day, yes, Lamar may be hurt for 2 weeks, but Lamar's getting his ass back on that field. Lamar's not losing that job. No time soon. I wouldn't say that he ran from competition. I would say that he chose, and again, we don't know that it's true though, because again, me working in the media, I know how things can be blacked out, flipped it, and reversed it, so I know how that works. But I don't want to say that he, obviously, I don't think that the path to the Browns looked like Dillon was going to be in the way. I don't ever think that anyone thought that that was going to happen, right? No one thought that. Like, okay, well, cool. But if you're being honest, if you want to be a starting quarterback at some point in your career, you don't want to wait behind Lamar for 5 seasons, because Lamar is going to play for a very, 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 very long time. Unless something really happens. He gets one of those injuries that are like career-ending injuries. Even season-long injuries, he's still coming back. He's not losing that job. So it's difficult and it's hard to say or hard to gauge, like, yeah, I want to go sit behind Lamar when you know that you will be sitting there for some time. Could it have worked out in a favor where he sat behind Lamar and yeah, he may get in with this week 2, 2 weeks of being out, and then maybe a team would have saw him and wanted to then sign him or trade him from that? Yes, that could have happened. But in most case scenarios, Lamar is not getting injured at no point in the season. That's not something that we have on our bingo card. Lamar is, in my opinion, yes, Lamar has had minor injuries, but Lamar, I don't look at him as being one of those injury-prone quarterbacks. Cincinnati's a different story, though. Joe Burrow, to me, is injury-prone because look what happened. Look what happened now. He would have been great over there in Cincy. But we all know that the Browns are not going to send him to Cincinnati because they are division rivals. Why would you ever send your competition? Why would you ever do that? You would never do that, right? So I think that's kind of hard. I think that's kind of like one of those hard things. Like saying, oh, if he would have went to Philly, I think it would have been great that if he went to go sit behind Jalen Hurts, but that's also another quarterback who's going to be playing for a very, very long time. Jalen Hurts is not up at any point of losing that job. So there's just quarterbacks that you have to think about when you're thinking about, I guess, as a young quarterback trying to come into the league. You got to think about like, well, there are teams that need quarterbacks, and the Ravens just weren't one of them. They just weren't one of them. And we're going to keep it a B. The Ravens, the Bills, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Packers, the Chargers, the Rams. These are all places that do not need quarterbacks, like for a long time. Their quarterbacks are not about to hang it up no time soon. So I can understand, I can see that, like, I am not trying to go sit behind Lamar and I got to be sitting here for seven years. I'm never going to see the field a day of my life, you know. I know. I get it, just joking around it. It was smart, but sometimes you have to go where you're actually wanted. Yes, I do agree with that. If they did want him, I mean, look what they're doing with him in Cleveland. They don't want him in Cleveland. They don't want him in Cleveland. Any chance they get now, it's any chance that they get, in my opinion, to make him look bad, they're gonna do it. The whole like being mute in the, in the locker room interview. Why are we interviewing Shedeur and Shedeur is not playing? He's QB3. Why are we interviewing him? Why is the media always in his face? We know why the media is always in his face, but come on. Whatever QB3 on any other team is getting interviews post-game. He probably trying to get up out of there. And y'all talking about Shedeur. Interview people that are playing. Jerry Jeudy. Interview Myles Garrett. Interview Dillon, Gabriel, because now, like, that last game, he's getting a start. So get him and spread him all over the media. But, Dillon is not selling. Myles ain't selling either, but Myles is Myles. So that's the thing. Jerry Jeudy ain't selling either. So they got to go with sales. And anyway, and to me, the Cleveland Browns is like, any publicity is good publicity. And that's what they're going with. And I think that sucks. Because why is the QB3 talking to the media anyway? Yeah. So I do agree with that too. At this point, it's three things being true at once. Three things being true at once. You need to go where you're wanted. You need to go where they will value you. You need to also go where you will have a future. If you want to be a QB1 at some point in your life, you need to go and do that and learn from somebody great. And all the quarterbacks from the teams that I've listed out are in no way, shape, or form up for losing their jobs. Hell, Cam Ward ain't even up for losing his job right now. They not losing that number one pick right now. No, they're gonna work it out. So, send him to Jacksonville. Get rid of Trevor. Send him to Jacksonville. He reunites with Travis. Hell, I think that's what it should do from the beginning. I thought that you traded in to get Travis, and then I thought because Shedeur was still there when they picked the next time around, they should just pick Shedeur. That's, to me, that would have been absolutely positively winning the draft double time. But again, I'm just a person here. I'm just a person. Just like CJ. CJ is just a person, y'all. CJ is either the biggest troll or he is like the most like comical. CJ is funny. He's funny because he's at it again. And I got a video. CJ went on to say how old he is at 23. And we don't have to hear from me. You don't have to hear it from me. You are going to hear it from this.
Being 23, I'm not like fully in my grown man body all the way yet. I'm still growing every year. And I just think like I gotta just continue to be hard on myself about not only just lifting weights but eating the right foods. Like that's been a big thing too. So yeah, that's just a thing where I think the explosiveness comes from like being better with my diet, being better with stretching, and like I feel like I'm getting old. So I'm not as quick as I used to be. I was watching my high school stuff a couple days ago. I was like 180 and I was rolling. Not no more. But yeah, I try to just be better with that stuff so I can run fast.
CJ, what is she talking about, bro? I love CJ Stroud, y'all, but I've been a fan for forever. But I said that he sucks this season. I don't know what's going on, and he's banned from all of my parlay cards. I've made this announcement plenty of times. We already know this, but to start off by saying, at 23 years old, and then to further go on and say, I'm getting old. I gotta watch my diet and I gotta do all these things. I was watching high school. I was a $180. I was moving around fast and all that. It's like, what? Why is this? Why are you washing yourself already at 23 years old, CJ? You are washing yourself. And in the comments, they were like, people were laughing and they were like, CJ Stroud is the only 23-year-old who is washed at such a young age, And again, it's different if he was like, I'm 30 years old, right? If he was pulling a Patrick Mahomes and was like, I'm 30, Patrick Mahomes was 30 years old. I'm 30 years old and I'm old now. I'm not as limber and as flexible and all that. And it's like, CJ, we need to work on something now. I do agree, you got to work on your diet and all those other stuff. Get into ballet, get into hot yoga, do something. Pilates, figure it out, CJ, because come on. But that's why I'm like, he got to be trolling. He got to be trolling. Like, it's no way he not trolling. It seems like he was trolling to me. I don't know. But I thought it was something funny, something lighthearted. And it's just like, CJ's just doing what CJ does best at this point. Talking to the media and just trying to get it done. Making the interview whatever he wants to make it and getting it over with. That's the thing. So CJ has spoken, ladies and gentlemen. He is 23 years old and he is old and not flexible and not as fast. I would never admit that. Not when it's going to go viral. I would never admit that, but that's just my opinion. And before I get off of here, I want to give you guys an update on the game. Okay, because the Aces and all that the Aces are playing the Mercury right now, and it is tied 82 with 4 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game. So I'm going to go watch the ending of that game. You guys know what to do. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're leaving me comments because all my chat comments will go away. I kind of hate that though, but whatever. Leave me a comment. Make sure you're subscribed and put your bell notifications on so you can get whenever I am on. I will try to get on here sometime tomorrow. I am not covering a game. Unfortunately, UNC Chapel Hill did not approve me for my Clemson credentials for me to go there to represent. But it's okay because that's fine. Things happen, whatever. But I'll get on a little bit and talk a little bit about college football tomorrow, and I'll figure out what I'm doing with myself tomorrow. So make sure you are looking out for me. Follow on all social media platforms at PG Love Sports, or you can type it in at Pretty Girls Love Sports. I love you all for all that you do. I love you all for being here and supporting me, and I will see you guys on the next